The Colts Gold Cup impact on competitive shooting cannot be overstated. The pistol has been instrumental in the success of countless marksmen and markswomen, helping them achieve remarkable feats in various shooting disciplines. The National Rifle Association recognized the Gold Cup significance by incorporating it into the national matches, solidifying its reputation as the gold standard for precision shooting. The Gold Cup has not only made its mark on the shooting sports, but it also the world of firearms collectability. Vintage Gold Cup pistols, especially the early models, are historically sought after by collectors. This is a Series 70 Gold Cup. You can see here that we're not loaded. Take that out. The main thing I'd like to say about this particular Series 70 Colt is I had bought this years ago. I did do a few things to it. These came with, this was a used gun when I bought it, so it came with the entire rubber grip that surrounded the whole handle, and I opted for these grips. I kind of like the Packmeyer thing, the finger grips, I kind of like that. I did replace the rear safety latch because the hammer was smacking the way I hold it, and the way my hand is, it usually hits me right here, and so I replaced that. And you can see the little nick where the hammer comes back and hits it. Not, my thumb was taking the punishment there. You can see that this is the Gold Cup national match. This is the Series 70. I don't know how I'm going to do the light to whether you can see it or not. I can't see the camera, so it's kind of how that works. I guess I want to talk a little bit today about the national match. Again, this is another pistol I've had for, I know in some of my older videos I called revolvers pistols, and I won't call this a revolver, but I'm sure that I'll get called on it. But this pistol was just something that was in the gun shop for a good price that I thought, hey, I might as well get into that. I've owned Smith & Wesson 9mm and didn't care for them. I had a Browning high power. I loved it, but it's just one of those things when it comes to swapping for something that I thought I needed. Those usually went down the road, and so I still have a Browning a buckmark that I use for indoor shooting, but when I bought this, and I did a few things to it, and a little small magazine well on it here, and then the thumb safety, and I just just looking at the thing after I got it home and all cleaned up, I just thought, wow, just a beautiful, beautiful pistol. So nicely done. The polish, the hand polish on it, I took it out and I shot it, and I got to be honest with you, I was a little disappointed. I thought, that these would be, laser focused, right on target, and to be honest with you, I was a little disappointed, and so, I kind of stuffed it in the drawer and left it be, and I had shot in revolvers for so many years that I guess I just really didn't understand the basics of how to shoot one of these. So a friend of mine, Steve, we brought the thing out, and I've known Steve for most of my life, and he's an excellent shooter. I mean, you have to see it to believe it, but this guy can, I'm not even going to say the things I've seen him do, but just for sake, he's very good at what he does, and without him, I wouldn't have any firearms. I don't think my dad really wasn't into it, but my next door neighbor, he was really the catalyst for me getting into the firearms and the collecting of the guns and the shooting and competitive shooting. And we've been friends for just 50 years, and it's just one of those things that you're lucky to have a guy like that for that many years of your life. And we're still friends today. So um, anyway, I took it out, and I grabbed a box full of rounds off the shelf at the local store and took it out. And I said, "Hey, Steve," I says, "I just can't get the thing to shoot for me. I don't understand it." And we loaded up. He loaded up a magazine, and he stood out there 25 yards, and man, he shot that thing, and it just put round after round after round after round in the bullseye. And you just never see anything like it. And I'm like, it's got to be me. I'm doing something wrong. So he spent a little time with me, and then I started to figure some things out, and the way I was holding it, and it was just a different animal, and just to follow through. If you're shooting a revolver for a long time, and then you go to one of these and you're expecting it to be the same, a lot of guys say, well, they are the same. Well, to me, they weren't. There's a lot going on when you fire one of these. The slides and the brass is ejected, and it's a fairly decent amount of recoil. You're shooting 200 grain lead bullet or 210 grain jacketed bullet, however you want. But it took some practice, and then after a while, I was able to keep them in the bullseye. So, if you buy one of these and you're just not sure, and something's just not right, and you stick it in the closet, give yourself a couple of times. Find someone that shoots one well, can give you a little advice. But there is a way. You really gotta hold on to these guns, and you got to be on purpose. You've got to follow through. I think follow through is a big thing for semi-automatics. But that was part of the deal there. Let's see here. After I got the thing shooting well, it takes a lot of money to feed these things if you want to shoot a lot. So, being a cast bullet maker, the first thing I did was, run out and get a 4-cavity mold, and you can see, I just cast these things by the bucketfuls here, the coffee can full, a lot of weight, and you go to the range, first thing in the morning, and excuse me, you can get just brass by the, you just look at it all. I just run it. I have a tumbler over there, and I'll run 100 at a time, and I've got probably in excess of 1,000 rounds of brass. Because when you're shooting these things, you got brass flipping everywhere, and half the time you can't find it. So when I go and see a bunch of it laying in a spot, then I pick it up and throw it in a bag and clean it up and reload it. These are fairly cheap to reload. It doesn't take a whole lot of powder to get the cycle. One thing I did do, I knew a guy. I bought a different spring for it for the lighter loads, and it functions the gun much better. So they have certain pound springs for target shooting, and then if you're going to shoot a heavier load, the spring's a little bit stiffer. So those of you that are not familiar with that, you can do that. So I keep a lighter spring in it because I shoot pretty light loads, and usually just for target fun. I'm not using it for much more than that. Most of my guns are for that. I enjoy shooting. I've never shot this competitively. I'm just not good enough with it. But on a good day, if everything's fine, and just remember, all my pistols done, all my revolver shooting's done offhand. I might test a load off a sandbag now and then, but a handgun is a handgun, and you got to hold it in your hand, and that's just the way they got to be shot. So, that's just kind of how it is. So, there's really not much I can say about the Gold Cup that you guys don't already know, especially if you tune into this channel. I mean, there's so many sites there, so many YouTube productions about it. So I really wasn't going to go into the specs about the Series 70. A lot of guys understand the Series 80 had a kind of a safety mechanism in there for whatever reason, whatever political reason they had to put it in there. They say that, it caused a little different trigger pull. And, to be honest with you, I never shot a Series 80. They're a fine firearm. I don't see any problem with them whatsoever. But, a lot of guys like the Series 70. So I didn't know that when I bought this gun or, bought this. But, that's what it was when I got it. And that's what it is today. I will say that from my experience of the last 10 years, seeing these things go crazy in the market. I mean, everybody makes them. You've got, and I'm not even going to start naming names because you guys know all the names. And I mean, they're finely made guns. I mean, but they are thousands of dollars, some of these things. I mean, thousands. And, these things set the standard back in the day. And, this might sound a little corny, but I liken it to almost playing the banjo. I mean, I pick around with the banjo a little bit, 5-string banjo, and I'm one of those guys that's probably never going to be very good at it, but I enjoy it. And one thing I noticed right away when I first started doing a little bit of picking with the banjo was there's two kinds. There's the old-fashioned kind of strumming it and sounding like, a barbershop quartet type thing, and a 4-string and a 5-string banjo, and then there was the claw and hammer kind, and then the thing really never took off until a guy named Earl Scruggs come along, and he invented a 3-finger picking style banjo. And all the banjo music you hear today and all the Nashville sound and all the records that are made today has that Scruggs style picking. And that's why I liken it, the Gold Cup, to all these other 1911s that are produced today. This is the original dog. This is the first time that a 1911 was kind of polished up and fitted better, and put a better barrel. This has the bushing in it, and tightened things up. And these were the first. Colt made the first Gold Cups in the national matches, and everybody just kind of followed suit. And they used basically the same methodology to make their 45. So you gotta say kudos. I mean, the banjo music you listen to today would be quite terrible without a man named Earl Scruggs. And the new 1911s that are all over the market today, and hey, they're fine firearms, don't get me wrong, but they wouldn't be much if it wasn't for the Colt Gold Cup. This is what started the whole thing. So that's my take on the Gold Cup. As far as the easy part of loading these things, I already talked a little bit about casting the bullets. They're shaped in a way I've never had any problem feeding them. It's kind of why they're shaped the way they're shaped. If you look at them, they're designed for the ACP. They go, right up in. I never had any damage or anything when I've checked them afterwards, or if I've pulled them out of battery. There's no marks on or anything like that. And the brass, go to any range, and you're going to find 20, 30, 40 pieces of brass laying in the grass. Clean them up. You're never going to run out of brass. Basically, you're putting 3 or 4 grains of powder and a primer. Unfortunately, the primers are like 10 cents each anymore. But that aside, you can get, you can do 100 rounds for, 10, 12 bucks. It's not that hard to reload for if you cast your own bullets, of course. So that's my video on the Gold Cup. It's a beautiful A beautiful handgun, well made. I like it. Of course, this is one that I won't be getting rid of. And I enjoy shooting it. I don't shoot it very often. I am kind of a revolver guy, but this is just one of those. If you're going to have an eclectic collection of guns, this is just one of those have-tos, the 1911. So, hey, if you have any questions or comments for me, leave them down in the thingy down there, and give me a thumbs up or some kind of recognition that I'm reaching some people, and hopefully with a little range information, and you go online, get a mold, get yourself some wheel weights in a small pot, make yourself up some bullets, find you some brass, and man, you can shoot these all day long for just pennies on the dollar for what you pay for ammo. So all right, hey, well, that's my video. Like I said, I'm just here figuring this whole thing out, and leave a comment if you like, and give me a like if you'd like to, and I appreciate you watching. Thank you.